George Segal gives a masterful and controlled performance.
What happened to the lady who crashed into me? Is she who?
Resting in her own room.
Plus, an explosive performance from Peter Sellers.
Anyone out there in the field? Don't worry. It's only an old salty Swedish sea dog from...
There's hair-raising adventure with Richard Harris. Plus a galaxy of international stars. And introducing Dennis Norden.
Prolonged enjoyment.
You've seen disaster movies. Now see a movie of disasters. Don't miss. It'll be all right on the night, too.
Hello, and to all foul-up fans and calamity connoisseurs, welcome to another intake of Outtakes. In other words, a second version of It'll Be All Right on the Night, or as it's sometimes known, the Bermuda Triangle of the performing arts. Because, and I mention this for viewers who didn't see our first compilation, while other television programs try to portray the ups and downs of show business, this program brings you no ups. All we feature are what Jimmy Durante used to call catastrophes, or to give them their real name, outtakes. Now, if you still think an outtake is something you carry away from a Chinese restaurant, let me explain. It's also a technical term used in cinema and television to describe those bits of film the public don't usually get to see.
Marker. And action.
Well, honey, I'm going to be blunt with you. You know, you've been retired for 4 years. You said so yourself.
Yeah, but the old reflex is still sharp as a colt. You ever work with horses, Karen?
Only the $10 window. Don't remind me of it. What about Hal's wife? She's going to be needing your help now, I suppose.
Yeah, I've thought about that. The more I think of Betty, the more resolved I am to get this man myself. Karen, show me how to put the gun in my mouth.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to the show where the brightest brain wins the biggest bonanza. Just raise your sights to the top of the smile pile and you see £1,000 waiting for tonight's fastest thinker. Let's meet our first contestant now. He is Peter Hyde from Surrey. He's a butcher, actually. And...
Fantastic one. Did you say action? Bloody thing.
Yeah, there was and there is, and the lovely dancer I danced with there, the beautiful girl.
The South Bank show officers. We work in television studios, of course, and film editing rooms, but this is where most of the work gets done. At the moment, we're setting up films in America. We're doing a film with Ernest Hemingway. He's dead.
I thought you were going to give me a sign.
Not so quick next time.
I thought last time you went like that with his hand and I kept looking and he didn't do it. Do you want me to wait for you to give me a sign or not? Oh, don't laugh at me. Go on. David, have we started? This is it? All right.
This is the wrong sketch, isn't it? I mean, I don't mind.
Oh, so how many nights
That's all for you doing it.
I mean, pretty much all done. I'll start again.
Start again.
Don't put that on there.
What that last item brings to mind is the point that this show will occasionally feature what you might call unidentified flying adjectives. On those occasions, in order not to offend viewers of tender sensibilities, you know, sailors, people on picket duty, that sort of thing, most of them will, as in that Janet Street Porter example, be obscured by an all-purpose, high-pitched buzz, which some of you may think is what the majority of television consists of anyway. And the other thing that I've been asked to do at this time by the film and television industry is to give you their assurance that the sort of cock-up shown on this programme only in fact happen on very rare occasions, which means that what we have for you today is something like 97 rare occasions.
There are two things we can do. A, we can get the ordinary rake and rake over the area, breaking it up.
It's not quite an ordinary rake, is it, Barbara?
No,
it's especially strong.
Especially strong rake, this is.
But there are clues all over the forest. Mr. Badger helped write them.
And now we'll pick teams of 2 out of the hat.
I'll be very sure that
The first one is by Millet, and I'm sure you'll all recognise it. It's called Bubbles. Oh, blimey.
Over the weekend, Lieutenant General Nguyen Van Tu, Chief of State and military candidate for president, finally showed up at a rally with the civilian candidates. That story from Charles Murphy in South Vietnam. We'll get that story from Charles. Not quite ready yet. In the meantime, at the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, the 6th annual meeting of the Midwestern Governors Conference opens today. High on the agenda will be such topics as racial violence in the cities and politics 1968. For a report, here is Don Oliver at the conference. We'll have that report a little later, too. This story, I'm sure I can handle myself.
Round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. The old wheel.
The so-called Torch of Peace is moving slowly across the continent from San Francisco this morning in the hands of a relay of runners. It is a peace campaign of a new kind. That story from John Dancy in San Francisco. You're kidding. Story a little later on. I hope we find time for all these.
Are you coming down to the beer keller? I can't. I haven't finished with my latest score. Ah, forget it. The beer keller will do you more good. You haven't seen my latest score.
Are we going to try for some of these stories now? Over the weekend, as we told you, Lieutenant General Van Tu, who is one of the presidential candidates in South Vietnam, finally started some campaigning with the civilians. And here's that story now from Charles Murphy in South Vietnam. What page do you want, Larry? Do the weather. Probably won't get the weather map.
Turning now to our national map. We're out for you in just a moment.
What else can happen to weathermen? I suppose the next thing will be a wedged satellite. Anyway, because all the nosedives in that block of blunders were due to what you might call instrument failure, let's now look at some where the fault can be traced to pilot error. And seeing that so many current affairs commentators nowadays seem to be under the impression that news only exists to bring you them, let's start in that field. Specifically, an American newsreel man who came over to Scotland to film a story on local reactions to North Sea oil and found himself interviewing a young fisherman who didn't so much speak English with a faint trace of accent, he spoke accent with a faint trace of English.
What has been the reaction of most of the people in the fishing industry here to the establishment of the North Sea oil rigs?
Well, it's just I know whole harbour you can.
Is there much fear among the people here that the oil may spread and come onto this coastline?
Oh, it's bound out. If the wind changes again.
Thank you very much.
That's the sort of confrontation known, I believe, in the interviewing trade as picking a wrong-un. And our delvings into cutting room dustbins delivered many similar examples of how an interviewer can achieve that seemingly impossible trick of being at the same time in hot water and on thin ice.
The fallacy that, you know, the white man constantly spouts about we are moving, you see. And we ain't moved a inch, you know, not 1 inch have we moved.
You have to start it again because you can't go out in England.
Oh, he can't?
No.
Well, see, then you should have told me before I started that, you know, I had to, you know, I couldn't, there were certain things I could say and that I couldn't say.
Is out.
Okay.
Is this a plane that can run well on one engine?
It runs best on one engine. That's all it has.
Now, this is really a result of a lifetime of ferreting, as far as you're concerned, isn't it?
I had them first when I was 8.
Whereabouts was this? Is this in Yorkshire?
Lichfield.
Yeah. Ow, ow, ow! I'm sorry.
Sorry, let it go. Put it on the floor. It will hurt you.
It is hurting.
Put it down. If you just hold on to mine.
I can't take my breath.
Now, this must be the climax of the situation. If that had meant business, it would have been through to the bone. She's playing with him.
Well, this is the most astonishing model aircraft I've ever seen in my life. Can you tell me something about it? It's massive.
I'll try to. It's taken 3 years, and 6 people have actually built it, besides myself. It has some very unique features. First of all, the airplane itself is unique, in as much that this airplane's not very well documented as to its actual war record. And it did 43 missions and never returned from the 44th. And this is the 44th today. Obviously, with it being so complicated, I have a very good ground crew, and they've taken almost 6 months to familiarise themselves with all the various checks we have. In fact, it's just like full size. We have a complete checklist for every part of the airplane.
And today's the big day?
Today's the big day.
Despite your applause at that moment of disaster, I'm sure you'll all be glad to know that it finally did get airborne, and today it is fully operational. Probably as a shuttle service for Ronnie Corbett. But what our research project did confirm was the axiom that for any adult to take part in a filming session that's got kids in it can only be compared to being given the part of Yorick in Hamlet.
Why don't you want to play a game of gin rummy?
I'd love to, Roger. But I think maybe you better check with your mother first.
How'd you know she's my mother?
Oh, just premonition.
Into what? What's that?
It's what I said that was wrong. It's intuition, not premonition.
Hey, what are you going to do with all those?
What are you going to do with all these?
Du ska spisa dem. Skål på, du ska spisa.
Do you like it? Have a lick.
Sausen han spår hvis det liker dem. Skal vi smake på det? Smake på det, ja.
Some you win, some you lose. Come on, let's try a couple. Come on, let's try a couple. Oh.
Now it's time for a break, but stay tuned because we'll be talking to Andy Marriott talking about the South African Grand Prix. Grand Prix? Yeah, Grand Prix. He's got here Grand Prix.
Which only goes to confirm Mark Twain's observation that the French tend to pronounce better than they spell. But equally as adept as children at turning a film's high hopes into low moans are any species of furred, feathered or four-footed creatures. And for proof of that, here's a typical wildlife preserve, in the first of which, may I advise you, watch the birdie.
Take 3.
Really, it's quite amazing the fuss men make over this St. Bruno thing. I mean, all they ever talk about are the cooler, smoother, slower burning virtues of that mild St. Bruno wine. Sometimes I think they're happy.
Sit down. Sit right down. Are we friends? Shake hands. How do you do? Come here. Come here, Ben.
I think he wants to take a walk, Rosalie. Where we get your mic cable here. I think we kind of got unplugged here.
Anna, Timothy, yes, most amazing news. Your uncle Emlyn. Your Uncle Emlyn has died and left you for...
Yeah, I have a full suspicion
Snitchy Witch has escaped again and is coming here. You look after Pepper, Sarah. I know what to do.
What, Uncle?
I shall combine these 2 sets of chemicals and make a very powerful glue. There. Mix them all together. Now, we'll watch Snitchy Witch really
As you can hear and see, is really hearting up here with the arrival of the Scottish team. We hope in just a moment to have a quick word with Alan McLeod, the team manager.
I can't tell you how good it is.
Put that comedy cat back in the house after feeding it free. It eats nothing but liver. $7.98 a pound.
Shut up and meet Christian.
Christian. Christian, I've only known her 10 weeks.
Well, they were the kind of outtakes which, after our last compilation, led to the question we were most frequently asked: how do the actors and actresses themselves react to this type of program? Because after all, when you put together a whole hour showing distinguished members of the acting profession doing nothing but fumbling, floundering and fizzling out, well, it could rather give the impression that the entire membership of Equity might profitably be replaced with some form of silicone chip. So how do the injured parties react to seeing themselves falling apart?
You think, first of all, this is the end of my career now. Now I'm getting to the stage where I am getting so old that I can't say lines without giggling or forgetting them.
Yes, you're a genius, boys. I can walk. Oh, thank heavens. The little guy.
condition of my establishment, but as the inspector knows... Chief. A chief inspector.
Oh, Goose.
One I remember was The Snow Goose with Jenny Agatha, right? And it was, I was supposed to, it was the very, very end of the piece, and I'm going to sort of go off to Normandy to save the people who were sort of trapped on the Normandy beach. And she knows I won't come back again, and I'm going to die there, and I know I'm going to die too there. Look after the birds for me, till I come back. Goodbye, Fraser. And so, of course, I get into the boat, and I'm supposed to take off and just disappear into the sunset there.
What speed, Philip? What speed?
My seamanship is appalling. And so the bow went off, got out about 5 yards and turned right around, you see, and came straight back.
There's that thermometer thing in there. Now, I saw those outtakes. I don't know what was setting me off that day, but I remember that was a giggly day.
What in the world could have got an intelligent man like you into a dreadful situation like this?
One lousy continental breakfast.
It's, not my place to ask, Monsieur Watson. And you certainly won't now. It's, It's not my place to ask, Mr. Can I call you something else?
Each movie, you're another character and you have another name. My name in my next movie is Jeff. Now, I never thought of myself as Jeff, and it's not G-E-O-F-F, it's J-E-F-F. I'm sure there are a lot of J-E-F-Fs out there, but I just never thought of myself as one. Do you know what I'm saying? This one, I'm Adam Watson.
5, 6, 7.
All right, and action. No, honestly, Franco, I'm fine, not a scratch. It was truly miraculous, but the car is a total mess.
Mrs. Brignac, could I have a few words with you? Yes, I know, but you're going to have to take complete responsibility. There's a lot of money involved, possible legal action, and time is very important, so if you can hang up and call later.
Somebody here being incredibly rude.
I'm not just somebody, madam. I am Adam Watson, I think. No.
Would you like to go out and come in again?
Yes, I certainly
You can actually enjoy it when you're sitting here and looking at it. When you're there, you know you have to do it again, and that's yet another tripwire that you're liable to fall flat on your face over.
That's right. That's what we planned.
Who planned?
We did. You and I. Didn't we?
No, we didn't. The only planning that's been done has been done by Father Fischer Hopperton. I'm surprised, actually, looking at these clips, that I don't swear more than I remember myself doing. I usually F and blind all over the place.
Yes, like Roger Moore, for instance, in The Wild Geese.
What? Action! Iron Man, Wild Goose, do you read over?
Well done, Sonny. You on the way in?
You told me this bloody radio's Russian, the dials work backwards. Iron Man, Wild Goose, do you read over?
Wild Goose, Iron Man, receiving you, strength 4.
That's amazing, isn't it? You got that up before I said my...
Do have a little point system going about that if you can get through a take without fluffing, you get a number of points, and you also get points deducted if you're late and everything else. And someone's going to get points for coming in through the door now.
Roger lost some points in the scene in the radio house because he got his dialogue wrong, you see. And poor Ronnie Fraser, who was supposed to have heard the plane and come in, of course, got his cue wrong. I think he got the cue wrong from Roger.
Iron Man, goose yourself in here. We're waiting for you, over.
We're 12 minutes behind schedule.
You good? Well, we're right down here, Iron Man. We have no intention of moving. I bet you hear a plane, John. I please, sir.
Richard and I were kind of worried about Roger. We found out in the first kind of week that Rogers really isn't James Bond. He's not really 007. He's kind of 003 and a half, really.
This is an aspect of film stunt work which is done in many films. In the Bond films, you see it a lot.
Unlucky for some, 13.
One takes over from another. One is hiding behind something, and the other one falls down, and the other one gets up, you see. The stuntman falls over, kicks the ball, and the other one gets up off the floor saying, "Oh," you know. Now this is done a lot, and it looks marvellous on the screen.
In The Man Called Horse, when they asked me to do the picture, they said, "Can you ride a horse?" I said, "Can I ride a horse?" Of course, I was lying through my teeth. I said, "Of course I can ride a horse." He said, "Bloody shit, I'm Irish. We're born on horses." I'm a converted coward, you know, when it comes to firearms and all that, you see. And not very good at special effects. So in this particular time, they told me I'd fire the gun at the bear, you see, and it would just go, little pop. So I took it and I put it up and fired. As I fired it, bloody thing exploded, you see, in my hands.
The worst moments tend to be when there are a great many other people involved in the scene. So there's a great deal of work setting up effects or crowd, something of that nature. And you sit and you wait and you wait, and they say, "Okay, everybody's perfect now, we'll go." And you're the one that sets it all in motion, and it doesn't happen.
Calling passenger Adam Percival Watson. Telephone, please. Adam Percival Watson.
Excuse me.
Telephone.
Percival?
It has to be my mother. Nobody else would dare. But listen, she's going to want to see you here and now. We got too much to do. She's just going to have to wait.
This is very heavy, Percival.
I didn't look around for the phone. How did I know it was here?
And it only takes props to go wrong twice on you, and you're finished. You know that. You know that.
Special delivery at Deb. Where were you expecting?
The other example of inanimate objects suddenly turning round and biting you was the clip where George had to turn the photographs over on top of the chest of drawers, and they would refuse to lie down.
394, take 9.
All right, and action. Got these at a garage sale. Oh, I'm so sorry. Right, and action. Got these at a garage sale. A real steal at $50.
And an actor likes to show off with props. I can talk and walk at the same time. And chew gum, right?
394, take 8.
All right, and action. Got these at a garage sale. A real steal at $50.
Bad language, and that comes out because they are embarrassed, in a sense.
I search through the script when I first get one to find some new words I can play with. And one that seems to set them off is officer of the l'air. The l'air.
The l'air?
What?
The l'air?
No, come on, Diane. Enough.
I think I skip that line.
Not to me. The law?
What?
You said you are an officer of the law?
You giggle much more as you get older. As a matter of fact, it's one of the great pleasures of getting old.
I was a New York cab driver. I can deliver babies, I can remove bullets, and in a pinch, I could do a little root canal work. Okay, baby. Here we go.
Breathe, please. Please breathe.
do that thing again and get it right. It's done perfectly here with Peter Sellers in the elevator scene.
And suddenly Blake said, oh, stop. I got a great idea. Whilst they're sizing each other up, and one's looking like that, and Clouseau's looking like that, and all this sort of business going, the George Raft routine. Someone should break wind, you see. And that would, now they'd all... So we said, yeah, but if we do that, what's going to happen? I mean, how are we going to... Oh, we said, that's all right. I'll say now.
Now. We can do it. We can do it.
So that's what started it. And then Blake said, all right, I won't say now. We said, now is the word that's doing it, Blake. Now is causing...
cinematic lowlights, with one for which all of them expressed approbation. Understandable peak from Cannon, or as is sometimes known, the amazing Bulk. And that outtake was one which, if we interpret him rightly, George Segal seemed to like.
That laid me right out there. I just started to scream on that one. I lost control.
George isn't always so guarded in his comments, because when we asked him for his favourite scene, he had no hesitation.
That guy walking all the way down, you know, and saying, now listen, he says with great authority. Now listen.
Okay. Now listen. I forgot what I'm trying to say.
And the walk was so great, and the animal spread before him, and it was so beautiful. I mean, the director's got to put a gun to his head after a thing like that. Well, can't you cut in? No, I need the whole thing. I need you to say that. Now listen, and then you have to say the next part. Well, what about the sheep? I know, they were beautiful.
Those chaps falling at the back of that wagon is hysterical.
was Martin Shaw meeting the ground there, but that was only one example of a filmmaking hazard we came across time after time. It could be expressed as put not your trust in mechanically propelled vehicles. A commandment that would seem to cover every form of vehicle, up to and including the invention of an electronic, radio-controlled, self-activating golf cart.
Morning.
Morning.
Hank Buchanan.
Your car's rolling back, Hank.
Thank you, Mr. Spicer. You know, you could lose your license for this.
Let's live dangerously.
Chief Air Reward, look.
Well, that must be quite a challenge.
Sure is. Good luck to you.
That's all the secrets being shown. There are a couple of moments there from the Waltons. Remember the family that makes the Osmonds look like the Dirty Dozen? But the very brief outtake that was Glenda Jackson's choice took us even further back into television memories.
The cowboy one, I think it was Gunsmoke, wasn't it?
Ain't no informer.
Got it.
It's those inanimate objects again.
Drive on if that makes any sense to me.
I think my leaving will do us both a lot of good. We're like star-crossed lovers, and we best put some distance between us.
What am I then? Triumph or a disaster?
Oh, are you being serious?
So am I.
It's a solemn moment. Humbling moment when you see your true place in the cosmic scheme of things. You see, it's like you was up there in space, looking down at the world from a different planet.
How could the f***ing be
No, not unless you absolutely force me.
As Mabel Lambert, our biology teacher.
Very pleased to
Mrs.
meet
P.
you.
Hello.
Don't let me interrupt. Oh, don't get me.
When it came to Richard Harris's choice, he nominated one from a category where we have quite an embarrassment of riches, the environmental hazard.
No, I can't do that, Jim. Nothing's as bad as this. Besides, I want to know who our friends really are and what their game is. Sit tight, I'll be back.
That's my favorite, that. That's really my favorite.
All right. Can we get... There we go. We'll put the fire out, and you'll see something really exciting. I think we're having a little bit of trouble with the fire extinguisher. Well, you know what I think we'll do? I think, as a matter of fact, we're going to leave the fire just as it is now. And, well, maybe instead of having to do this, maybe the sergeant would come back again a little bit later sometime, and he'd show us some of the other things that the dogs can do. Wait a minute. Let's see if we can try once more, and we'll put the fire out.
Now, while that last batch, with the kind of belly flop that can occur while something's being shot in the studio, they were as but a gnat's bite compared to the really transcendental aggravation encountered on location. And as proof of that, let's now look at a sequence of events that happened while a London Weekend Television unit were out in Sweden during the Swedish Grand Prix, which we all know now is pronounced Prix, right? Well, this was a setup. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and the LWT unit have a half hour of time booked on the expensive satellite link from Sweden to London, the technical name for which is the unilateral. And during this half hour, they have to transmit an interview with the American racing driver Mario Andretti as a trailer for World of Sport's presentation of the race that afternoon. So, parked in a van somewhere on the Swedish racecourse is the LWT director Mike Hack, working under instruction from a World of Sport producer called Andy, who's talking to him from London. And what Mike Hack has to do is contact the man in charge of the international coverage of the race, a Swedish television director, in another van parked somewhere else on the racecourse, and get him to ask the camera crew, who happen to be French, to train their cameras on the LWT interviewer, Andrew Marriott, while he has a chat with Signor Andretti. Well, at this point, two howevers enter the picture. The first is, because Mike Hack has no direct communication facility with the Swedish television director, he has to relay his request to the LWT assistant director, Keith, so that Keith can convey them to the French camera crew who are in communication with the Swedish television director. The second, however, is that the French camera crew speak no English and no Swedish. The Swedish television director speaks no French and no English, while Keith, Mike Hack and Andy in London are fluent in only two languages, English and profane. Incidentally, if any of this makes any sense to you, then I am not telling it right. The third, however, by this time, it's now 11:18, and there's only 12 minutes left on the unilateral from Sweden to London.
Okay, Sandra, I'll be going in about 1 minute. Yes, Mike? Mike? Yep. You calling me?
Yep. Just Andretti, please. We don't want to see Andy in shot.
Okay, are they...
Yeah, the way to go, Keith. You can go in your own time. They're rolling VT.
Yes, Andrew speaking for Level. Level on the radio mic. Speaking for Level on the radio mic, talking to Mario Andretti in the pits here at Anderstorp. Andrew Marriott, from the pits to London, do you read?
Go, for Christ's sake, Keith. I've told him that 3 times. Go now, please.
To interview Mario Andretti.
Go, Keith!
Well, the cameraman is telling us that we can't go, Mike, so I just have to hang on for a little bit. Or shall we just crack on?
Crack on, for Christ's sake.
Okay, we're going. Well, he's not even shooting now.
And now, there's only 7 minutes left, right? Doesn't time pass quickly when you don't know what the hell's happening? Perhaps now you can begin to see why, despite all the technological miracles it now commands, the letters TV still sometimes stand for total vacuum.
Go, man. You know, regardless whether they want to or not, we must go, because we'll lose Andretti as well.
Keith, we must try and do something. We've got a problem, I understand, and we don't really know what it is here. The handheld cameramen will not shoot for some reason that we can't understand.
Yeah, we're doing our best, love. We just can't get through to the bloody cameraman.
Mike, I don't know what's going on, but he's talking to the director who says categorically he can't go, so he won't go. We're just standing here like a lot of lemons.
It makes you wonder whether there shouldn't perhaps be a new category in those television awards that people in this industry keep handing to each other every year. Gold statuette for most fed-up director of the year. But even as I speak, those satellite minutes are ticking away.
Yeah. Mike? Yeah. Are you listening? Yeah. Have we got an extension?
No. No, not at the moment. Hang on one.
Have we got an extension?
Go now.
Mike, I can't go now because there's great big monsters going past. Can you hear the noise?
Yeah.
Mike Hack. Mike?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Have you got an extension on this unilateral?
We've got sound and pictures at the moment, Keith. The minute we can get the two together, the better it's going to be.
There's 50 racing cars that's now got to go.
Well, take some pictures and we'll voice over. We'll do anything, but let's get something back.
No, there's no point in voicing over pictures of this stuff.
Well, you know, if we can get Andretti when the noise dies down, smash him, but they want something to promote. They want something for the menu, and pictures are better than all.
Well, our bleep machine went into overdrive at that time, but what came into my mind was a prayer that somebody once told me about. It went, "Dear Lord, in thy wisdom, please give every person in the world the precious gift of patience. But I want mine right now."
Andy in London, are you still getting sound and pictures? Right, the minute these bloody big cars go, we'll try again.
Mike Hack.
Hello.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go now, eh?
Go, for God's sake, go. Please go.
Can we go?
Steve, can you move that gentleman in the red jacket out of the way with the toe of your boot, and let's do Andretti.
Mike, Christ's sake. Mike Hack.
Yes.
Go. Yes.
Go.
Mario Andretti, pole position yet again, but alongside you the Brabham Sucker car. You've hit out against it. Just why? Well, particularly because...
That was the point where they lost the satellite link. But going back to the wider world of film and television goofs, do remember, while watching this last batch of self-inflicted wounds, in the whole history of performing, records prove that there has only been one artist who never fluffed, mixed up, or forgot his words. His name is Marcel Marceau.
Since 1939, the Firmston family have been tenants of this house. But 4 years ago, the Firmstons were divorced, and Mr. Firmston transferred the tenancy of the house to his ex-wife, who remained here with their 4 children. Mr. Firmston, meanwhile, married himself.
Take one.
Okay.
Okay, Bishop.
Okay, Bishop, you just count to 3 and then come out.
No, it's behind the pink, but the yellow is on that side cushion. And for those of you in black and white, it's just behind the blue.
All the fuss is about. It's by Solzhenitsyn, and it graphically describes life in a Russian labor camp. But many people consider that it's a classic. Nevertheless, some of the language it uses is so fruity and so colourful that because of the television laws in this country, I'm unable to read any of it out.
Any second now, the director's going to ring me from the box and tell me who the next group is. Hello? Yeah, what? The next...
Well, I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, all of today's outtakes have been just another proof of what an improvement films and television are on real life. I mean, wouldn't it be great if every time you cocked up something in your life, some unseen voice shouted, "Cut, let's try that bit again." But it wouldn't really be fair to close this remembrance of things kaput without reiterating that the sort of film and television blunders we've shown do not occur all the time, only on days that have a Y in them. At the very least, perhaps they've served as a reminder that the sort of people who get to appear on a cinema or television screen are just as prone to human fallibility as you or me. All right, perhaps not you, but me, definitely. Take 12. This quaintly shaped lump is a Nuttall's Minto, and we always used to say there's an art in eating one. You hear? Roll it around now. Soften the Minto beyond the enjoyment of its delightfully meat.
My name's Jeffrey C.
Where are you from?
Granada Television.
Right, off you go, sir.
Action! Hold it a second. Hold it a second. Just bring it shot, Nancy. We won't be a minute. We won't be a moment.
Thank you, Mr. I don't know where I am because it's you know.
Like that. Still running. Still running.
Oh, you no, this is a cut.
Thanks for watching.
Now we hope to see you.